Well, hello, this is Dr. Larry, Senior Pastor here at Empowering Faith Kingdom Center for Ambassadors. And beloved, I got some good news of the kingdom. And that is, we don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to guess anymore relative to when Yeshua was born. Yeshua called Jesus when he was born or when he was conceived. We're going to look at scripture. I used to say to myself, I'm just going to celebrate this day because I don't see it in the scripture anymore. Well, those are my days of ignorance, and that's over. We now have the truth of the matter. And if you can do any type of math, then you can easily see when he was actually born and make your adjustments to the Father's calendar, to his timing. So we're going to go right into our notes here, and it's going to make this very brief for you. Going to look right into our notes and go ahead with this. Now, let's look at this. Here are some notes, and I wanted you to take a picture of it, do whatever you got to do, because I'm going to be brief making these notes, these points here. So we're going to key in on Zechariah. That's right. Yochanan called John father, and Elizabeth, Yochanan called John's mother. That's where the key is that'll open up and point you to his exact birth. All right. So here's the vision. Zechariah, the vision served late June or July on our calendar. And it was during the feast of Shavuot when he was serving, but his division served on the 8th course, and we're going to point that out in a moment. Okay, while on duty, you'll find all of this in Lucas chapter 1. Just read it. You'll see all the information there. So I'm going to summarize it. While on duty, Zechariah had a visit by a malachim or angel, informed him that his wife would bear Yochanan, the forerunner of the Messiah. All right, and if we look at Aleph Debri Hamayam, translating English, First Chronicles, and the name should stay the same as it was, 24, it'll note the time that Zechariah division ministered. His time of ministering was based on the course or the time that his father Abijah ministered. You'll find that again in Aleph Debri Hamayim, chapter 24. All right, now, after completing a week doing Shavuot, because during the 3 primary major feast days, the priests, all of them would have to serve because of the amount of work that had to be done. However, Zechariah course, remember, was on the 8th week of the year, the 8th week of the year. So after completing a week doing Shavuot and his scheduled week, he returned home, and his wife Elizabeth conceived approximately in late Sivan, early Tammuz. Because remember, Sivan on the Hebrew calendar is on the lunar calendar, and Sivan, which is Shavuot, that didn't happen on the same day every year because the Father's timing is not on solar or the Gregorian calendar. Gregorian calendar wasn't around. All right, so Elizabeth conceived late Sivan, early Tammuz, which is on the Gregorian calendar, falls somewhere in May and June. All right. So 6 months later, Elizabeth and Miriam meet. Miriam conceives Yeshua in the month of Kislev when Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant, and it was during the feast of Hanukkah. Now, let's continue on with our notes. So you see these numbers here. We're going to summarize it. We're going to come back, make this brief. 280 days later, 40 weeks from Hanukkah to Tabernacle is the length of pregnancy, normal pregnancy, which put his birth, Yeshua, during the Feast of Tabernacle. The Word was made flesh and lived in the midst of men. Yochanan 1 and 14. Now we'll have some key factors here relative to numbers, but let me summarize it again. If you key in on when Elizabeth conceived and got pregnant during the feast, right, following Zechariah's time he ministered during the feast of Shavuot, and you count that 6 months when she met Miriam, when she was 6 months at the same time, the angel, the malachim, visited Miriam. She said yes, and she conceived Yeshua during the dedication, Feast of Dedication, or during Hanukkah. That's when it happened. So the numbers are prophetic, the numbers are accurate. It's been right there all the time. And because of a lack of correct teaching and divorcing the congregation of Elohim from our Hebrewic roots, the enemy religion was able to come up with a replacement holiday. That's what happened. So 6 months, do the math, count it for yourself. I got a chart here we're going to go over in a minute, and we'll come back to these particular numbers here. Let's look at this chart.